What's going on, y'all? It is time for another NFC divisional preview. Now that the draft is out of the way, let's talk about the NFC North. And we're going bottom to top, 4-1. Leave in the comment section below what you think the order is going to be, and if you disagree with me, I'm sure at least somebody will. So fourth overall, I have the Chicago Bears. I was unimpressed with their offseason and their draft. I have them going 5-11, and it's not that bad for a fourth team in a division. Mitch Trubisky and Nick Foles are going to compete. Nick Foles is overpaid. Mitch Trubisky's didn't get the fifth-year option. The management's talking about how much they love him and how this is going to be his best year yet, when really it's not going to be. He's going to be out of there sooner than later, and they're admitting that they blew that pick. As well, you look at in free agency, they bring in Jimmy Graham, and then through the draft, Cole Kmet. Look, Cole Kmet had one good year. Like, 6 touchdowns, 500 yards. Before, they had like 100 yards and no touchdowns, I think, for the rest of his career. Unimpressive what the Bears did in the draft, and they replaced Jimmy Graham, who they just paid a whole bunch of money. So I don't like what Chicago's doing this offseason, so I have them fourth in the division. Especially after not having a first-round pick. To use a second-round pick on the same position that you got in free agency, I don't love that. Third in the division, I have the Detroit Lions going 7-9, a much better record than last year. I think they have Matt Stafford back. They found something in some wide receivers with Marvin Jones and Kenny Golladay. Golladay specifically, he had some NFL record, or he led the NFL, I believe, in one of the receiving categories. Not sure exactly which one, but just popped onto the scene pretty much out of nowhere. He was on my fantasy team, so I kept a pretty close eye on him, and he definitely produced for me last year. And then Kerryon Johnson, DeAndre Swift. Now, they could run the ball on anybody last year, even with the injury issues. And now you added DeAndre Swift. I like Jeff Okudah. This is going to be a much improved team this year, I think. And I think they're going to win a lot of those games that were close and that they lost last year. Second in the division, I have 9-7. The Minnesota Vikings. I think Kirk Cousins was overpaid. They had the least amount of cap space heading into free agency in the NFL, and yet they still found a way, with losing all that talent, to just capitalize on the draft because the Eagles passed on Jefferson. They were able to pick him up. Cam Dantzler was a big pick. Jeff Gladney was a big pick. Ezra Cleveland was a big pick. They added a lot of pieces through the draft that they needed to fill, and they did a really nice job. I think I graded them an A for their draft. They did a really good job in the draft, but I still don't think it's quite enough to win the division. I think that they lost just so much talent along their defensive front and their corners even, that it's going to hurt them, and I don't think Kirk Cousins is going to be able to patch the wounds that they just built through the offseason. So I think Minnesota goes 9-7, and they come second place in the division behind, and it hurts the Green Bay Packers at 10-6. I think it's an unimpressive year this year. I think they won a lot of games last year that they shouldn't have won. I was very unimpressed with them. They were empty calories all season long, in my opinion. They had a pretty weak schedule, and they barely crawled through a lot of those games. Now with the draft, them and the Rams, who a lot of people think had one of the worst drafts in the NFL, are going to have the same amount of first-round picks that play this year, God forbid an injury, right, with Aaron Rodgers. Because they took Jordan Love and they traded up for him. Aaron Rodgers is a diva. That's not going to work out. And then in the second round, they're shifting the tide. They're shifting the focus of the offense to the run game. They had a tight end and a running back. Dylan, first of all, in college, has a lot of tread on his tires. It's kind of like Eddie Lacy. He might not make it 8 years in the NFL. Who knows? But he's a big physical runner. It's very clear that they're trying to shift the focus of that offense away from Aaron Rodgers. And they're sending a message by doing it. LaFleur, I don't love what he's doing. I love it because it's ruining their franchise, I think. And it's ruining what they've had going for so long. But as a football analyst, I don't love it. I think they made a lot of bad moves. I think they squeak out this division just because it's weak. But I think it's an unimpressive year for the Packers, and I think they might not even make it out of the wild card round. As always, like, comment, and subscribe on this video. Remember, I said fourth, I have the Chicago Bears 5-11. Third, I have Detroit 7-9. Second, I have Minnesota 9-7. Green Bay 10-6, barely wins the division. What do you guys think? As always, go Hawks.